this new session in the Archie Friday series. Now for more than 2 months now, we have been providing those sessions with our distinguished speakers every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Paris time, and we have been delivering on one simple promise as we started, or since we started our first session: 1 hour of concrete, actionable architecture, and this is open to all. So, once again, thank you very much for all of you for joining us and for being part of this adventure. We also, as usual, welcome everyone who won't be part of the event as a speaker. So if you have any interesting topic or any experience to share with our community, so you are more than welcome. So we will really appreciate having you in our sessions, and of course sharing those insights and your knowledge with our community. And for today's session, we are thrilled to have Sweta with us to explore a very interesting topic around accelerating digital banking. And she will present a modular core strategies for agility, efficiency, and growth. Thank you very much, Sweta, for being part of this session. We really appreciate your participation, your involvement, especially seeing the different time zone between Europe and US. And really, this is great consideration. So once again, thank you very much. And without taking more time on the session, and in order to move directly to our topic, Sweta, the mic is yours, and let's start the today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Seme. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Seme and Rodrigo. I'm glad that I have got this opportunity, and I'll try to justify this opportunity by sharing my experience. And let's talk about myself. My name is Sweta Lakaraju. I have over 18 years of experience in mainframe-based core banking systems, specialized in systematics and Vision Plus products, which are basically core banking products and a credit card processing system with major banks like Citigroup, BMO, and GE. My work is mainly focused on modernizing. Modernization projects and large scale conversions and migration projects in the legacy systems, and I have also worked on improving the batch performances and helps to integrate the digital capabilities into the legacy traditional banking systems. And this all this experience relates to the today's topic, accelerating digital banking using modular core strategies. In this session, I will try to explain how to transform smoothly from a legacy core banking system to a modular modern architecture using API driven strategy, which will help the bank to improve its agility and reduce risk. So today's topic will be accelerating digital banking modular core strategies for agility, efficiency, and growth. The first thing, what are the risks with this legacy core banking challenge? Like what the challenge we have with the legacy core banking is, these are basically built decades ago. So they are on monolithic architectures, and it is very difficult for them to be transformed into digital transformations. As we all know, these are as they are built decades ago, and basically banks in olden days were used like a bank's transactions rather than the digital first experiences. Today, these platforms consumes disproportionate IT resources. Like we need, they need lot of maintenance cost. Integrating anything with that complex system is very difficult, and when you try to impose any new innovation ideas and transform into the market trends, it will be very slow. And now the financial institutions generally are finding themselves trapped between these things, like the need to modernize and the risk of disrupting critical operations, because they are worried, like if they, while during these digital transformations, maybe they will uh, have some issues with the critical functionalities with the core banking operations. So there are so many risks associated with this, like the perilous price of inaction defines four. I just try to give four types of risks here, which is crippling resource drain. Like there will be overwhelming investment in the legacy systems, which will divert your critical funds and top talent away from the innovation and strategic growth initiatives. Like your money will be wasted on something, basically on resources, than on the growth and digital transformation of the banks. And the next is the eroding competitive edge. As the legacy bank system is completely complex, it will be very difficult to add any innovative ideas, which will lead the bank to be dangerously vulnerable because it is not able to adapt to the new changes, and thus it will lose to its competitors and customers also. So the next complexity with the legacy system is it is very hard for it to be integrated with the external connections or vendors, and it will be very hard to have any internal upgrades or internal updates to the system itself inside. And that will be very resource intensive custom development, which will down the line will accumulate more of technical debt, and which will have barriers to the agility. And then the fourth and the important risk is escalating regulatory risk. Like if there are any evolving regulatory standard formats which are coming into the market, and this system is ill equipped, it will be hard for it to have that uh, same pace along with the market, and which will have so many difficulties, and it will face the severe penalties and irreparable reputational damage. So these are the four risks which are very important, which will cause the legacy core banking systems to fail in this modern era. So, as a solution to that, we are introducing the igniting the modular core revolution. It is basically like these days, financial institutions are spearheading a transformative shift in how their core banking systems are engineered. Like they are moving from monolithic platform to visionary organizations by using API-driven architectures. The innovative structures elegantly uh, break down the complex functionalities into agile, autonomous, and independently deployable services by unlocking unprecedented speed, flexibility, and innovation into the modern systems. So when transforming to monolithic architecture and modular architecture, uh, I tried to show some main things with the monolithic architecture. In monolithic architecture, it will be basically a single tightly coupled code base architecture. Like it will be like a cluster. So when you want to do some changes, and if you do some changes, it should be deployed like a whole part. You cannot you have to be deploying it as a whole, or you will not be deploying. That is what will happen with the legacy systems. And when I'm saying a whole full deployment, then there comes the scalability issue, because scaling also requires the entire system duplication. And when it is as a cluster, it will be very difficult to adapt to new technologies, and if there is an issue, it will cause the system to have an impact, which will be a high risk. But in modular architectures, it will be independent, loosely coupled services. Like you will have different services for different functionalities. And when you have that independent, loosely coupled services, you can do updates based on the service which is applicable to that update, and only that service will be impacted. So when you are doing scaling also, in the same way the scaling will happen based on the service. And as we are having loosely coupled services, that if there is any technology shift or technology needs to be adapted, it will be easy for the system to take the technology, and it will be flexible with the services. And there are also minimal impacts because these are individual components. So if one individual component is affected, then you can do some rollbacks, fix it, and come back. The other services which are associated with will work as usual. Only the single service which will be impacted will have the risk, and that will be a minimal risk. But whereas in the monolithical architecture, the whole system will be affected. The core uh, principles of modular banking system is API first design, domain driven design, cloud native infrastructure, and security by design. Like for API first design is like you will identify the capability, and we will use them through well defined documented APIs, which enables seamless integrations with internal systems, third party providers, and fintech partners. This approach creates an ecosystem rather than a fortress. Like as you know, like APIs are most happening things in the IT industry now. So everything is built through APIs. So the APIs are more important, and that APIs will be built on each and every service. And the next is cloud native infrastructure. These are also main things which are needed, because for the scalability and resilience and for of the system, and the modern DevOps practices are also being adapted. So cloud native architecture generally enables rapid development, automatic scaling, and improved disaster recoverabilities. Domain driven design is something like you will identify services on the domain level, like whether it is a payments domain, a lending domain, accounts, rather than it as a technical layers. So this alignment ensures that technical architecture reflects business reality and enables teams to work independently. Like if I'm going for only one single domain and developing it as a service, then that service will have everything related to the payments, and it will be easy to work independently. And when we are doing all this, security is also mandatory and very important factor in these core principles. So when we are designing a security, we have to design security layer at each and every layer with zero trust principles and end-to-end encryption and comprehensive audit trails. Like for every service you will have audit trails, and this modular architecture enables more granular security controls and faster threat threat response. Let's move on to the next slide. So to achieve this modular architecture, we have a pattern called Strangler pattern, which is basically phased migration strategies. So you will be deploying the services in different phases rather than doing it one go. So this Strangler pattern generally offers a proven low risk approach to core modernization, because we are not trying to directly replace the legacy system and come with a modern strategy. No, we will do parts and pieces of the deployments, using all the legacy functionalities with the new services while maintaining the system stability. So there are four steps in this process. The first step is identify and isolate. In this step, we will identify what features or functionalities in that legacy system can be used for modernizing, and which will be, as we are doing as the first parts, we will identify which domain or which module is typically having clear boundaries and which is less complex to build. So we will identify that, and we will try to build and deploy. So when we will develop the new modular service, we will develop that module same as the legacy system, which meets everything like functional non-functional requirements, the same as the legacy system. So once that build and deploy of that new service is done, now we will start monitoring and routing the traffic from legacy to the new service. Like whatever the transactions load is coming to the legacy system, that will be slowly moved on to the new service, and we will monitor how that new service is able to handle that load, and is it its behavior is how is it behavior under real world conditions. And at the fourth step, once we think yes, the new service is stable and it is okay, to decommission that part of legacy system. So even after I remove that system, the new service will also work same as the legacy component, which we have identified in the legacy system, that this part of the system can be modernized. So that part which was selected for modernization, if it is working fine with no issues, that part in the legacy system will be decommissioned and it will be replaced by the new service. And then we will repeat the same process. Once we are done with first employment, let's go back to the second uh, cycle, where we will do again the identify and isolate process from step 1 to step 4. So this is a repeat process, and which will happen until the whole system is modernized. So benefits of this approach is reduced risk, because we are doing it in small pieces. We are not touching the legacy system at the first go. We are not having any a big risk, as the service will be a small one. So even if it is failing somewhere, we will be able to easily roll back and fix it. And it will be a continuous value delivery, because we are not trying to wait for the whole system to be modernized, then after 1 or 2 years we will try to implement it and see the results. No, that is not what we are doing. We are identifying small parts of the system which are independent and which will be deployed, and you will be seeing every quarter or every 1 month or every bi monthly, you will see those deliverables happening and working along with the legacy systems with their core value functions, which are working same as the legacy system. So it will be easy for the migrations, which will also improve our agility and reduces the technical debt. The next is learning and adaptation. So when the resources are in the legacy core banking system, as that system is like a whole thing, the person who came in just now to understand the core banking complete architecture, it is not possible for one person to know whole banking system completely. One person will have the ability to like he would be having his expertise in payments, the other person will be having his expertise in customer relationship management. So while if we do this independent services while developing and while analyzing, like if they are trying to move a payments domain into a single service, they will start learning about that service. They will start exploring how that service is used in that legacy architecture. So now by doing this, they are getting exposed to the functional domain of knowledge of the system, because they will now know what are the requirements of the payment domains, what are not in the scope of the payment domain. And as this will be a new technology, they will be learning the new technology along with the functional knowledge. So it is improving them, and they are adapting to the new technology, new environment. So there will be lot of learning and growth in this process. And business continuity, as we are not trying to replace the system at one go, and we are doing it in one small chunks, it will not have any disruptions to the main core banking operations. Customer will not have any issues with their service, and your regulatory compliance will also be remains intact. We have 3Ds in banking, which is domain driven design in banking, which basically provides the architectural blueprint for modular banking systems, like by organizing services around core banking domains rather than technical layers. Like these 3Ds ensures that system architecture reflects business reality. This approach establishes clear boundaries between domains, enabling independent development and deployment whilst maintaining data consistency and business rule integrity. Like domain driven design is like in a bank, you can have customers, and customers are related to the accounts, and accounts can be loan accounts or savings accounts or checking accounts, and those accounts or loan accounts can have debit cards or credit cards, and then those cards are again related to the customer. So this whole process will have different factors impacting it. So these are like single domains. Like in a customer domain, you will have a customer identity, like a customer has his customer identification number, driver license number, passport. S- these are few things. And the customer relationships, like how the customer related to that account, whether he is having a primary relationship with an account or a secondary relationship with an account, how the customer is uh, related to cards, whether he is a primary card holder or the person is a spouse of the card holder, like a secondary card holder, an alternate card holder, how the payments domain is handled, how the accounts home domain is handled, how the lending domain is handled, what are their functionalities. So you will be dividing the banking operations into different domains to make them independent services in the few upcoming deployments. So along with this, we also need to ensure compliance in our modular architectures. So the regulatory compliance remains paramount throughout the modernization. Modular architectures, when properly designed, can actually enhance compliance capabilities rather than compromising them. So generally, we have advantages with compliance is that we can do granular audit trails for each service, as they are isolated regulatory controls can be done by domains, and it is easy for the adaptation to the new requirements, and it also increases improved data governance and data lineage. And for critical considerations for this compliance will be the data residency and sovereignty requirements, how the transaction is traveling across the services, like consistency across services, and we have to be doing the comprehensive logging and monitoring of the service, and regulatory report aggregation and change managements and validations. These are all needed for a compliance part. So building blocks for integration excellence. So this is the main part which is needed for integrations. First, we will need API gateways, which will act as centralized entry point of for managing authentication, rate limiting, routing, and protocol translations in APIs. Then the event bus, which is basically a synchronous messaging backbone, which enables real-time communications between services, and service mesh, which acts as an infrastructure layer handling service to service communication, observability, and resilience. And there we also need the data platform, which is basically for analytics and reporting layer, which generally has everything, your statistics data, how the data is there across all domains, and the reporting structure of the data in every domain. Now, achieving agility at scale. As we have already discussed the modular architecture fundamentals, we know now how financial institutions respond to market opportunities. Like they will be easy for them. That will be easy for them to follow the market trends, and they have competitive threats because uh, if in the legacy system your competitor will have, if the competitor has a modular architecture, then you are behind them, so it will pose you a threat. So by decomposing these monolithic systems into independent services organizations, it will unlock agility. So in this they have three types. Accelerated time to market, like you will if we are in a modern modular architecture, it will be easy to launch new products in less timelines than with than with legacy systems, which is very difficult to have new product launches because we have independent services here in the module architecture. And it is very safe to experiment things, like you, as you have single independent services. If you want to test anything on the single service with then you can test, you can do any changes to that single services and see how the results are working without disrupting any core banking operations. Elastic scaling, as services scale independently based on the demand, optimizing optimize the infrastructure costs and maintenance performance, also maintaining performance too. And reducing complexity through modularity, as this point is already discussed, like adapting to microservices increases architectural components while reducing overall system complexity. This occurs because well designed modular systems replace tangled dependencies with clear explicit contracts. So each service becomes independently comprehensible, testable, and maintainable. Team gains clarity, understanding on the domain deeply without need to grasp the entire system, as I have discussed in my previous slide. This reduction in cognitive load translates directly to improved development velocity and system reliability. Here there are key complexity reduce mechanisms, like bounded context, which limits the scope of understanding required. API contracts makes dependencies explicit and versioned. Independent deployment eliminates coordination overheads. Technology diversities allows fit for purpose solutions. And foundation for the sustained innovation is the true power of this modular core banking architecture emerges over time. Beyond immediate agility gains, these systems create a compound innovation advantage that accelerates with each passing year. Like while experimenting, you have a low risk testing of new capabilities and model business models. While learning, you will have feedback loops from products and architecture decisions. And in the when it comes to ecosystem, it is an API platform which attracts partners and enriches the customer values. While scaling, as this we are doing on a service level scaling, successful innovations can be deployed broadly with minimal frictions. So this cycle transforms technology from a constraint to a competitive weapon, enabling financial institutions to adapt continuously to evolving customer expectations and market dynamics. So in this whole slides, the key takeaways are modern architectures generally unlocks agility by reducing the risk through incremental transformations. Through strangler pattern approach, we will provide a roadmap for phased legacy migrations. By domain driven designs, we ensure technical architecture reflects the business reality. By compliance, we strengthen the modular design. By long term innovation acceleration, we create a sustainable competitive advantage. So, for this to be implemented, we need the next steps. Whatever we need, the next steps are, we need to identify the current assess the current architecture, and identify modernization candidates, like what are the modules which will be needed for the modernization and what is its capability. And we will have to build cross functional teams with business and technical expertise. We have to select initial domain for strangler pattern implementation, like which capability can be implemented for the phase wise implementations. Then we have to establish API governance and design standards to integrate the modular services. And then we have to create feedback for our continuous learning and adaptation. Thank you.
Good. So thank you very much, Swira, for all those for this presentation and all those details related to implementing those modern architectures in the banking ecosystem. And of course, we this is something we need to consider it in, let's say, a broader topic and
Yes.
broader scope, especially because we know that how critical are those infrastructures, especially for the banking domain, and how it can be, let's say, critical for them, any type of unavailability or any kind of issues that may occur on the system. So that's why implementing those new, let's say, techniques in this new architecture can be very valuable in this context.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you have access to the chat, because we have some questions posted there. You have access to the chat?
No, oh yeah, I see a chat.
Yeah, you see the questions.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So the idea of this session is that we give you the time to present your topic without being interrupted. So you present the whole, let's say, subject, and you discuss the details, and then we are collecting those interactions from our online platforms. Also, some questions that we get before the session, and
yeah,
we pose those questions in the chat, and we give you the time to answer into details, and of course any kind of recommendations, any kind of suggestions that you can address for those questions or best practices. They are very very valuable and very welcome.
yeah.
You want to start with the first question?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
first question is, for a bank just starting its modernization journey, what's the very first small piece of the old core system you would recommend replacing to get quick wins? The first suggestion would be, like, when you want to go for a core modernization technique from a legacy system, don't just go start with updates to your system, or the new resource kind of. Go with the inquiries, like I will give my customer number, it should be able to give me my account details. So if you are doing that small things, you will come to know how to go to the system, get that functionality, and you will have to know how that functionality of inquiry needs to be implemented in the system. So if I am doing small inquiry parts, I will give the customer number, I'll get the account details. I will give the account details, I will get the transaction for the account done for this month. So we have to go on a smaller level, like a baby step we are taking towards the core modernization. So this baby step itself, to understand what all is needed from the system to go to the new system, like you will now to write that new program, how that new program will be connected to your front end, because mainframe is basically back end thing, and we are not exposed to the Java front end infrastructure. So identifying those resources, those teams, and talking with them, letting them know how you will get connected to that um, front end with your mainframe outputs which you want to display as an inquiry. So this will be the starting criteria to start on the modernization. That would be my take, as a very small quick. The first, identifying the resources who can do this, and having a proper training sessions. This will all help in this modernization strategy. Moving on to the second step, second answer, what exactly is the strangler pattern, and why is it better than ripping out the whole legacy system at once? Uh, the first difficulty with the legacy system is you will not know what functionality is residing at what place, and you don't know with what type of transaction which functionality will trigger. That is the big issue. Because I am in banking from last 18 years, I know the hardships, because you have a transaction and when it gets posted, I'm just telling in a regular way so that everyone can understand how bank works, rather in a technical knowledge. Today you will go, you will put your debit card in your system, in ATM machine, and you will get your money. For you, the whatever the slip you got from that ATM, you saw, okay, my account is reflected with this deduct amount, okay, my balance is reflecting. No, that's not how the bank works. In the evening, after the bank working hours are done, all these transactions are logged and batches will run, and this everything will be updated in the system files. And basically in reality your account will be deducted at that point of time. So whatever it is shown to you is a real time, which are stored in online only. Whatever is done in batch is permanent, and that will be done during downtime, during when the banks are off. So so as not to impact this regular operations, we will not do anything huge in a bank directly into modernization. So when I'm doing a small debit transaction, and if I want to do that in a modernization also, I will do in parts and pieces without affecting anything. Like if I am doing first service with a debit transaction update, so I will only choose few debit transaction codes only. The debits done through ATMs will be affected first, then only that I'll do. And I'll inform the customer beforehand that we are going with this transformation. If you are facing any glitches, please write back to us. So this is how the strangler pattern works. So we will target, like, I have chosen 3 domains for first phase migration, and that first phase migration will be after some 6 months. In the 6 months, we will identify what all will be needed for that service to be developed, and how that service is working after deployed in a parallel production like system. Like your production will be running, your bank will be running with the legacy system only, but you will also test with the time data on this service to compare the results. Like if these two are same, then only we will go with this implementation. So that is the reason we need this strangler pattern approaches. The second question: is it possible to keep the old core running for a few more years while launching new modern apps? How do you make both live together without breaking everything? The problem with the core banking systems now is it's a highly maintainable costs. It's very, very high uh, maintenance costs. It requires so many resources to work on, and when you are launching new apps, you need significant investments for that too. So maintaining two systems at the same time for the same functionality is not a feasible option on a business level. So basically your business stakeholders will not adapt to such type of things. So when they are investing in something new, yes, with for reduce minimum risk, to keep the risk mitigated, they will be investing in both the things in the initial stages, and once they see the transformation is actually happening and is impacting, then yes, slowly they will decommission this, because it's not feasible to maintain two systems. And if you are maintaining two systems, you need significant resources for this system and this system too. So how many resources you will be a bank will be able to afford it? At the end of the day, it is modernizing the system to meet the market demands and earn the money to the bank. So if they this is not a right choice to have both the systems up.
Yes, just
Yeah.
yes. For this point, I really join my voice to yours, because in some cases we see that we may have, let's say, hybrid implementation, because between legacy systems and modernized infrastructures. So they think that this can be transition between the old system and the new system, and that it will be smoother to do or to implement this type of architecture in order to move to the modern one. But really, as you mentioned, this is not the best approach. This is not the best solution. Maybe having those two systems working in parallel, and to verify and check that
Yeah.
we really have, let's say, the correct implementation and the correct process being executed, and being run correctly, efficiently, providing the required results. So then we can decommission the first one, the old system, the legacy system,
Yeah.
and really start working on the new one. But yeah, this can be also transition phase, but shouldn't long for, let's say, years or months. It can be, or
Yes.
it should be, yes, shorter, because don't forget that we have the maintenance. We need to have the maintenance, and
Exactly.
and more. Yeah.
And
Correct.
as you say that to decommission a legacy core banking system itself will take some 5 to 6 years, even if you are doing in phases. You cannot just do like that. That's how huge the core banking system is. And now, for this today's era, for our digital banking needs, we are trying to modernize things without losing the stability of the system, because we know our core banking systems are more secure and stable than this digital era, which are prone to scams. So we have to take these security measures also. So this, when you are decommissioning the legacy system also, we do in stages, because we know how it will impact. That is how we do. So it is generally a time taking process. Initially it will take the money, you will have to wait for the results, but in the long process it will gain a lot of agility, and it will reduce the risk, and there will be uh, money coming in for the banks, because there will be lot of market demand. It's going on for the new era actually. um, I am done. Is it possible to? Yeah, this is done. When you switch to a modular architecture, does it cost more money at the beginning? And when do banks usually start seeing real savings? Yeah, at the beginning, it will take more money, because at this stage, in the beginning stage, we will be maintaining both legacy, and we will be doing our development and providing infrastructure and resources for the modernization strategies. So yes, from for the beginning, the investment will be more. By going down the lane, once you start modernizing things and all, yes, it will be real savings. I actually covered that in my previous question also. You just described how visionary banks are breaking their core into small independent API driven services instead of replacing everything. For a bank that wants to start this journey tomorrow, what would be the first business capability or service you would pull out of mode to build separately, and why does that one give the biggest boost in the speed and flexibility right way? This was like the first question which I addressed. Instead of going for directly updates or customer changes kind of things, it is better always go with the enquiries. That would work in a safer way. So you will know how the customer inquiries are working on the system, and they will have like, I will give some question and it will give me some information from my accounts, and which is accurate. That itself is kind of modernized. We have modernized, like we are giving the inquiry uh, part of the system to modernization directly. So that would be very feasible. And I would say no risk, because you might be getting wrong data, but it will not harm your account. So that would be your first step, because we are in baby step. It's better to reduce the risk at that state, because we will not be able to solve it if we run into problems. Modular architectures can actually improve compliance with features like granular audit trails and isolated controls in practice. What's the one critical consideration that most banks underestimate at the start, and how do you recommend tackling it early to avoid painful rework later? Um, in compliance, I would say something like, when moving to modernized architectures, what will happen is in core banking, you will have lots and lots of functionality which are sometimes not used at all. While we are going for compliance, we have to consider those, like if I remove this functionality from this, how it will affect. And those type of audit trails needs to be done on this small bits and pieces. So identifying them in the initial stages will be very difficult and complex, because at that time the resources will be adapting to learn the system also. And yeah, we will try to identify, but it's not, I would say it will not be possible 50%. But yeah, every team starts with that point only. But yes, initially you might face failures, but yeah, somehow we will be able to implement it in the later stages. Indicators best represent end-to-end continuity. I will need to check this question. I'm not sure about it. What correlation strategy? Because this is on API driven, and I'm a mainframe resource. That is the reason why I'm saying like whatever is related to the front end, I will have to come back to you on those questions. Like I'll check with my team colleagues and also how this can be addressed and how this will be uh, used kind of thing. I don't want to give some vague answers which I have no knowledge on. So yeah, I'll come back to the questions which I have no knowledge, surely. um, yeah, I think I'm good. What patterns should be used when different bounded contexts must collaborate with leaking internal rules? uh, Integration patterns are, as I told you, like the service should be independent. Like if I am going for a payment, then that payment will also have different things. What kind of payment, whether it is an online account to account transfer, or it is an ACH wire transaction. So that payments also needs to be uh, developed in such a way, so when we are integrating a payment domain, that all those types of transactions which are coming in from accounts needs to be handled. So that such integrations are very much needed while doing the integration. So in this modernization, you will need lot of knowledge, and there will be lot of scope for learning and growth. Yeah, that's it, Sam. Yeah, and rest of
Uh,
the questions I will, like, if you can email me, I will come
yes,
back. Yeah.
yes, questions really related to the architecture and the
Yeah.
integration patterns. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Rodrigue is joining us. So I think what that we have. Yeah, thank you very much, Rodrigue. So just for information, Rodrigue is not joining us so for the session. So he will be moving for a Microsoft conference. So he will be part of the event, presenting a topic. So you can reach him on LinkedIn. So for any questions or just to have any inquiries about the session, and it will be in Portugal, I think. So maybe after the
Yeah.
session we may have more details. And to continue on what we have, I just wanted to close the session and to thank you very much, Swira, for being part of it, and thank you very much for your availability and for this fascinating topic. I know that this is not easy to cover everything only in 1 hour, but just let's say this is just to have a taste of what
Yeah.
we can do with modernized core system banking and this let's say this new architecture or those new technologies we can implement and put in place. And of course, once again, the invitation is open for you. So if you have any other topic, or if you want to continue with this one, you are more than welcome to our sessions, to our community, to share your knowledge with us. And also, if you will be speaking in another event, you can share this with us. We can publish also for our community. This can be very interesting and very valuable. And just for the final words, I will let you the mic. Yeah, very impactful session. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Rodrigue. Thank you.
Thank you, Sema. Thank you, Roderick, for your support. For both of you, I appreciate your support and opportunity provided to me. It was a great session. I was
Yeah,
like mm, tensed, like how would I do that? Yeah, but now I was at ease when I spoke to you in the morning, the first part. So yeah, thank you so
yes,
much for your support.
this is very good to hear from you because we are not pushing too much the things. So as I mentioned, this is a voluntary action we doing. We are doing this just to share with the community, just to have those professionals who are interested by those topics to join us, to share with us the knowledge, and of course the goal is to get those connections, to have those new relations that we may get, and of course we need to keep in the community in order to
Yeah.
grow together. Of course, I will share your LinkedIn profile, Swira, on our platform. So for those who are interested, so they can reach out to you directly. And once again, thank you very much for joining us. And for our audience, for all of you, thank you once again for being part of this experience and for this session. And see you next week. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Seme. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.